Well, as kids are enjoying their Thanksgiving break, we wanted to offer some at-home science activities to help pass the time while you're sweating over the stove making that big turkey dinner. Now, speaking of that turkey, what is the gizzard and why do turkeys even have it? Well, in this week's Science Sunday, we join a beloved local science teacher with a demonstration in digestion.
The gizzard is part of their digestive system, and its purpose is to help them break down their food since they don't have any teeth to chew like we do. So it's a very unique structure. So we're going to talk a little bit about it and also come up with a demonstration to see how it works. So because they don't have any teeth, when they eat their food, which is typically some leaves and succulents, and depending on the season, might be little insects and bugs and maybe some lizards, berries, whatever they can find, really, they don't care. So they have to figure out a way to break this down, because if they swallow it, you know, kind of like us sometimes when we don't chew enough, we choke on it and your body really can't break it down. It needs to mash it up very tiny to actually get the energy out of your food. So the gizzard is really what helps turkeys and some other birds do that. So we're going to do a little bit experiment. You're going to need two little baggies, so little Ziplocs would be fine, whatever you have. And you are going to go out and collect some food that turkeys might eat. So I just went and picked up some leaves, and I had a berry type little bush in the backyard, and I got some little succulent leaves that fell. So I just went and picked up some different things that looked like turkey food. And I'm going to put a little bit into each bag. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of the same types of things. Get a couple berries in. And okay, so there's one. So there's one, you know, kind of meal right there. And then I'm going to fill my other bag with some of the same things. Now, the gizzard is a muscular organ. So it, like a lot of muscles, it can really squeeze things really well. But the problem is it can't squeeze everything. So as I'm filling these up, okay, we're going to have two different conditions here. So one of them is going to just be a plain bag with my food in it, and the other one we're actually going to add some little pebbles and anything that's kind of gritty. So it could be like a really hard shelled thing or some little tiny pebbles. So I've got just some little tiny rocks here. So the turkeys will actually swallow some of these and they'll get stored in the gizzard. I'm just going to throw a couple in there. And they'll just kind of sit in the gizzard and these are going to help us mash up the food. So our experiment is going to see how well this gizzard structure actually works compared to just squeezing my bag like a mussel would squeeze the food. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to get some more of the air out so I don't pop it. So my hands are going to be like the muscles around the gizzard, squeezing food, which is very similar to some of the muscles in our digestive system, squeezing food through. Okay, and so when I do that, some of them break a little bit. The berries kind of break. Okay, so that's my first one. So some of the leaves are still kind of whole. Some of them are kind of like cracked in half a little bit. So the one with the rocks in it, that's going to represent our gizzard. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, squeezing. And we're going to look and see if this makes a difference in how much the food is mashed up. Because if you don't mash the food up, the turkey isn't going to get very much energy out of eating that food. And then they just have to go and eat more food. So it's really best if they can get as much energy out as possible. All right, so I kind of mashed them for about the same amount of time. I'm going to hold them up kind of side by side. So this one, you've still got kind of some whole leaves in there. And this one, if we look kind of at the bottom where my rocks are lined up, some of them are broken up just a little bit more. And then this is one I did yesterday. I had, I think, some even smaller rocks in there. There's a lot more little bits, whereas the one that didn't have any rocks really kind of left more whole. So it's kind of a neat experiment to see, like, really what did adding those rocks do? So the turkeys actually go out and eat things that are kind of gritty, not for energy, but to store in their gizzard to help mash up their food, so it can continue traveling through the digestive system and pull out that energy.
Now there's much more to this lesson. Kristen and I also talked about those beautiful fall colors out there. So head to our website, turn23.com/Science Sundays to download this printout and take a tour of your neighborhood, studying the chlorophyll in those colors and the science of photosynthesis. We'll see you next week.